G'day guys and girls. This video is a bit different to my normal ones where I take you out on a hunt with me. In this one I'm going to break down some tips and tricks on self-filming for any of you that want to get out there and self-film your own hunts. So let's get into it. So I'll start this video off with the question that everyone will ask, and that's, what gear should I use? And the disappointing answer to that is, it depends. The gear you need is largely dependent on what your ultimate goal for your self-filming is. For instance, if you're just filming for yourself to watch and relive one day, then that's a lot less gear dependent than someone who's filming in a professional or semi-professional capacity. But while your filming goals may differ from mine, I'm going to break down the gear that I use and when I use it, and hopefully that'll help you to determine what you may or may not need for your own self-filming needs. The first, and what I'd consider the most important piece of gear, would be what I call my main camera, which would either be a hand cam or a DSLR, and they are important because of their long zoom for longer range filming. Also, their high picture quality is best for capturing kill shots. The drawback to them is they can be awkward to move around with, especially when they're attached to their tripod and you're pushing through scrub or climbing steep hills and things like that. And while you can keep them in your pack to avoid that awkwardness, they do take a little bit of time to set up when you get them out of your pack, so that's something to keep in mind if you choose to keep them in your pack. The next bit of kit is something I'm sure you all thought of immediately when I said self-filming, and that's the GoPro. GoPros are awesome for dynamic filming, like when something's moving and you have to move accordingly. You can just attach it to any piece of your kit or anything at all, hit record and do what you need to do, and it's going to capture all your footage. A couple of drawbacks I found to GoPros. The first one is they're a short range camera. They tend to film everything out quite close, and the second one is they tend to drain batteries quite fast, so it always pays to carry spares. Next will be something that everyone has in their pocket on every hunt, and that's their phone. Phones tend to have pretty good cameras these days, and even some limited editing software. Phones are really good if you want to video something really quickly. You can just pull your phone out of your pocket and video it. They do have the drawback of needing to be in your hand, so that does limit your options to hunt effectively with one hand taken up by your phone. Also, something to be aware of is they tend to pixelate zoomed footage. Another piece of gear you might not have considered in terms of self-filming is the game camera. While only useful in certain situations like hunting from a blind or from a stand, game cameras can give you an edge on getting a shot that you otherwise might not have got. The obvious drawback to game cameras is they are motion activated, so they need to be put in the perfect position to capture the shots you want. Next we have all the accessory stuff like tripods, external microphones, selfie sticks, things like that. I won't go into too much detail about them just yet because they'll speak for themselves later in the video. The last bit of kit you'll need is a good pack that's capable of carrying all your camera gear and the stuff that you would normally take on a hunt. Personally, I like to have a selfie stick with either my phone or a GoPro on within easy access, usually in my pocket, so I can quickly take it out and give a commentary on what I'm doing, or just hold it out in front or beside me to get some good walking footage. I usually keep my main camera in my pack and only take it out when I want to film something while glassing or when I'm about to make a stalk. This takes a bit of practice because not only do you have to do your normal things like stalk in, get your bow or rifle set up, get ready to shoot, but you have to stalk in with your weapon in one hand and your camera and tripod in the other, and then set up the camera before you go through your shot process and ultimately make your shot. This can be incredibly frustrating. I've lost count of the amount of times that I've missed an opportunity on an animal because I was busy getting a camera set up. But ultimately getting the shot on film makes it all worth it. I believe a camera capable of pairing with an external microphone is a must, because you can get a wind muff which goes over the top of your microphone, which filters out a lot of wind noise that these cameras pick up quite easily. I love using GoPros to get alternate angles that the main camera can't see. I use at least 2 GoPros so I can get plenty of angles and then pick the best shot or shots to be used. GoPros can be good for conveying what's going on during a hunt, a stalk or a kill shot by providing a different perspective. I prefer to have one GoPro focused on myself so that you can see my actions and emotions during those moments. The only thing to keep in mind with a GoPro is the wide angle lens, so their most effective filming technique is for things up quite close. Another thing to be aware of is the head harness accessory for the GoPro, which is really good for capturing what you're seeing, but you have to keep in mind that our eyes filter out a lot of movement that the GoPro doesn't, so unless your head's perfectly still, you're going to have shaky footage. Probably the most useful accessory I've found for the GoPro is the flex clamp. It comes in handy in so many situations. Just because it's got the clamp on the end, you can mount it to anything, fence posts, trees, roots, your bow, your rifle, you name it. You can attach it to anything and then just bend it in whatever direction you need it, and you can end up with some really cool shots that you otherwise wouldn't have got if you didn't use it. Something to always have with you is a multitude of spare batteries and SD cards, because you don't want to get to the time when you're about to make a stalk and your camera goes flat or your SD card gets full. So I make it a habit to change out my batteries and SD cards before I start any stalk. That way there's no chance of it going flat and me not capturing the footage that I need to capture. I'll preface this next part by saying I'm in no way an expert when it comes to hunting from a tree stand or a blind, but I can give my experience and my observations on what has worked on some of these hunts that I've done. A big bonus to hunting from a stand or a blind is all your setup's done ahead of time, so when the time comes you don't need to get any cameras set up and ready, they're already sitting there ready to go. Obviously a tripod isn't ideal for in a tree stand. I'm not to say I haven't done it, but it did require a lot of cable ties. However, there are purpose-made camera arms for hunting from a tree stand. They attach to the tree and they have a really wide range of motion with a simple one-hand operation. The next piece of kit from hunting from a stand or a blind is the game camera. I love using these cameras not only for filming the hunt but also for providing context of before the hunt of animals that have been living and moving through the area. If placed well, they can give you a good ground perspective of a kill shot that you otherwise might not have got. Now once again, we can't talk self-filming without talking about GoPros. I could talk for days about the seemingly endless possibilities of things you can do with a GoPro hunting from a tree stand or blind, but ultimately all you really need is imagination and some kind of mounting system, and you're away to go with any perspective you want. The biggest perk with using them in a tree is that everything's super close for the hunt anyway, so you don't need to worry about their main focus being only things that are close. So they capture a lot more footage than they would in a spot and stalk style hunt. Once again, I find a phone camera is best used as a simple commentary device rather than a main filming camera. This is just my personal preference though, because I've seen that they do make tree camera arms specifically for phones for this purpose, but I have no experience with them, so I can't give you an opinion one way or another about them. Well, that's my take on some of the finer points of self-filming your hunts. It can be incredibly hard, but it can also be incredibly rewarding when you make it work, because you're able to relive your hunt over and over as well as share it with others. This video has just been a simple 101 on self-filming. If you'd like me to get more in depth into the finer points of self-filming, let me know and I'll make another video, more of a 102 I guess of self-filming. But yeah, let me know if that's something you're interested in. Catch you on the next one.